All right. Good morning to everyone in Asia, and good evening to our colleagues in Canada, Europe, and the Americas. Welcome to the launch of the Coastal Cities at Risk in the Philippines, or CCARPH Resilience Toolkit. So I am Joy Rocamora, a research associate of the CCARPH project and a graduate assistant of the Master in Disaster Risk and Resilience, or MDRR program of the Ateneo de Manila University. The Coastal Cities at Risk in the Philippines is a transdisciplinary action research consortium led by Ateneo de Manila in partnership with the Manila Observatory, the National Resilience Council, and the International Development Research Center of Canada. Our session today is broadcast live on the Coastal Cities at Risk in the Philippines Facebook page, the address of which is flashed on your screen right now. And please be guided by the following house rules. All attendees and participants are automatically muted upon entry, and all cameras must be switched off unless needed. The ceremony will be recorded for documentation purposes. For speakers, microphones and videos must be used only when necessary. For attendees via Zoom, please send your questions to the chat box found at the bottom of your screen so our team can take note of these for the open forum or the question and answer portion. Likewise, for our attendees on Facebook, you can type in your questions via the comment section. Let us begin this launch with a few messages, beginning with the president of the Ateneo de Manila University and CCARPH project holder, Father Roberto Yap, FJ.
The 19th century American journalist, critic, and women's rights advocate Margaret Fuller once said, "If you have knowledge, let others light their candles in it." This is precisely the goal of the Resilience Toolkit of the Coastal Cities at Risk in the Philippines, an online digital repository of the scientific and social knowledge and tools garnered from many years of work by the CCARPH Research Consortium and its action research partners. The Resilience Toolkit contains a plethora of information about climate change and tools to address the issues of social vulnerability, city resilience, and capacity building. Like CCARPH itself, it is designed to help disaster and risk practitioners and local government units to enhance our city's climate and disaster resilience, as well as promote a more sustainable development for our country. Even assuming that every person on Earth finally agrees that climate change is a real and urgent issue, it will be many decades before we can slow or reverse its effects. Providing communities with the tools to help them adapt to this new normal is therefore equally important as transforming hearts and minds. Tools to understand and address climate change and disaster resilience abound, but the unique strength of the CCARPH Resilience Toolkit is how the knowledge and tools it has gathered are culturally sensitive and locally applicable. As more Philippine cities and Filipino practitioners use the toolkit, we hope that it can further be expanded and deepened so that it can help transform even more communities to become resilient. On behalf of the Ateneo de Manila University, I thank the Manila Observatory and the National Resilience Council of the Philippines for their invaluable partnership and commitment throughout these years. I also thank our action research partners in universities and local government units in the Visayas, Bicol region, and Metro Manila, not only for their assistance, but more importantly, the dedication and concern that they have for their communities. Together, let us continue to work towards a more resilient and sustainable Philippines.
Next, we have Dr. Marley Wilches, Vice President of the Ateneo de Manila University.
Good morning, everyone. Coastal cities in the Philippines are always at risk. And in this increasingly precarious situation of climate change, disasters happen that never figured in our wildest imagination before. I grew up on an island town, which is a typhoon belt island town, and I say this from experience. People who are constantly hit by these disasters might often shrug their shoulders in desperation, saying, "There's nothing we can do about it." They strive to stand again and again each time they fall. Meanwhile, in many parts of the country, we are mobilized to do endless relief operations to help sustain rehabilitation. This kind of scenario can render everyone exhausted and worse, hopeless. But there are, thankfully, those who have the resources of knowledge and will and determination and funds and power to show the other side of the spectrum that offers hope and courage. That is where we are today as we launch this final synthesis report and Resilience Toolkit produced through the project Coastal Cities at Risk in the Philippines, or CCARPH, Investing in Climate and Disaster Resilience. Indeed, it takes an entire village of collaborators, partnerships from varied sectors, public and private, government and non-government, scientists and environmentalists, business and industry, civil society, academe and community, social media and the creatives, with multidisciplinary interests, expertise and scholarship, to shape an encompassing approach that aims to address the concerns surrounding the situations in these cities. It is our great privilege at Ateneo de Manila to be in a consortium with the Manila Observatory and the National Resilience Council for the Coastal Cities at Risk project. The robust team is headed by the project leader and principal investigator, Dr. Emma Porio, professor at the Ateneo Department of Sociology and Anthropology, and Ms. Tony Loizaga, principal investigator and president of the National Resilience Council. From the Loyola schools, the project is joined by an interdisciplinary team of faculty members from the Ateneo Department of Physics, Department of Environmental Science, Department of Economics, and the Ateneo Innovation Center. The Coastal Cities at Risk project raises awareness of the magnitude of the problems in coastal cities at risk beyond the short-term practical remedies. If we have to move ahead systematically, we need a cohort of like-minded individuals to carry forward scientifically backed up and contextually nuanced solutions to such problems. The Resilience Toolkit translates some of these ideas into reality. And we hope that when people in these cities are awakened to a better solution to their own problems than stopgap measures, they will have a sense of greater value of themselves and of their lives. And with Rumi, my favorite Persian poet and philosopher, we can say to them and about them, I quote, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop," unquote. So enjoy this launch, and many congratulations to all who have participated in this invaluable project.
Thank you for that, Dr. Wilches. Now, let's hear from Ms. Melanie Robertson, Senior Program Officer of the IDRC.
Good morning to everyone. For people who don't know me yet, my name is Melanie Robertson. I'm a senior program specialist at the International Development Research Center, IDRC, and I was the project manager for CCAR. I'm currently based in Ottawa, which is why I can't be with you today in person. On behalf of IDRC, I would like to thank you first for having pulled together this important launch of the Ultimate Toolkit. I would like to take this opportunity to also thank you all for your hard work to achieve this toolkit, which really combines all outputs and outcomes from the project and beyond. You are too many incredible researchers, practitioners, decision makers, and leaders for me to thank you individually. But thank you all again. I will say a special thank you to Emma, an exceptional person, so dedicated to her work that sometimes it was challenging to keep up with everything in the project at the same time. The end of this project will leave a significant gap in my work and life, but I'm sure Emma and I will find ways to keep interacting. We consider your work to represent some of the best action research we have supported so far in the region. We know that you have produced very significant outputs for policymakers and the communities. My experience at IDRC working with researchers, trying to convince policymakers and practitioners to use data led me to realize that we need to work as hard on communicating climate science and climate impact as we do on the climate research side of things while developing models or tools themselves. The project outcomes and this toolkit address this challenge and try to bring these two sides closer together, communicating research. You are quite literally the leaders in addressing this challenge. The toolkit combines the translation of so many products from the CCARPH project. For instance, the advancement of knowledge for decision making through the data sets generated for each city, the production of decision support tools and models developed and deployed to local governments units, along with targeted trainings, the concretization of the Masters of Disaster Risk and Resilience program, and all the students who were trained, the development and deployment of technological innovations in select cities for disaster preparedness and responses, the strengthening of the private-public partnerships in the Philippines, just to name primary results, along with many others, which has contributed to go beyond preparedness and to build disaster resilience and climate resilience. One key thing in this project was the importance of building trust for researchers, policymakers, private sector, and communities to be working together as a matter of practice. And the toolkit is a concrete product of all the collaboration. Your project is an excellent example of what can be done with good leadership. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Tony. And thank you, Jessica. I can't tell you how excited I am for launching a new chapter in CCAR that will stay beyond the project in the Philippines. Thank you all again on behalf of IDRC, and I wish you a very good launch.
Thank you, Father Bobby, Dr. Wilches, and Miss Melanie for your inspiring messages. Now, let us hear from the principal investigators of the Coastal Cities at Risk in the Philippines project, starting with Dr. Emma Porio of the Ateneo de Manila University, and she is the project leader and principal investigator of CCARPH. Dr. Emma?
Yes, thank you, Joy. Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much Thank you very much for coming and being with us in launching this CCARPH Resilience Toolkit. I would especially like to thank the distinguished panelists that we have and partners that we have invited from Iloilo City, from Naga City, from Ateneo de Manila University and University of the Philippines, Visayas, and from Arise Philippines. I am very grateful for your coming and responding to our call. I have only 3 points for this opening remarks. Basically, number one, the value of vertical, intersectional, and horizontal partnerships and working together. Number two, I really want to emphasize that trust, great gratitude, and I'm really grateful. I think this Resilience Toolkit will not have been possible without all your work, all your contributions, and all your support really in everything that we did. You know, I've disturbed so many people this past 3.5 years from Naga, Iloilo, Cagayan de Oro, all over the Philippines and also abroad. So I only have gratitude. I really think that the intellectual generosity that all our partners have given us, as well as material support, it's what made this possible. Number three, I really just want to say that the Resilience Toolkit, along with the other action research that we did, along the workshops, is really an investment to climate and disaster resilience. I really believe now that with the climate crisis and the crisis of social inequality, everyone must invest in resilience. Everyone must contribute to making this world that we are in, these environments that we are in, the institutions that we are in, our teaching and our research. We must invest in making our work contribute to resilience. And I would like to say thank you very much. I would like to thank basically our project holder, currently Father Bobby, who have always supported us, all our university officials, all the local officials, Mayor Legacion, Mayor Triñas, and all the city planning offices and all the DRM offices in all the cities that we've worked. We are really very thankful. And most of all, I'm very thankful to all the CCARPH research team. I think without the nudging from my co-principal investigators, Antonia Yololoizaga, Jessica Dator Bercilia, and all the excellent researchers, professionals, and practitioners, I don't think we could have reached it. So thank you very much. And I would like now to call on Tony to basically talk about our journey and how we have reached this point. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you very much, Emma. Good morning. Good morning to Father Bobby Yap, Father Jack Villarin, Father Robert Rivera, all great partners of the CCARPH project. I'd like to say also good morning to VP Marla Wilches, and of course Dr. Emma and Jessica, the very energetic team that has made all this possible. Yusek Alex Pama, Chancellor Castigador, UP Visayas, Sunny Gelios of UNDP, and of course our implementing partner Donna Magno and Willie Prilias from Iloilo City and Naga City. On behalf of the National Resilience Council, I'd like to thank IDRC, the Ateneo de Manila, in its groundbreaking transdisciplinary action research project. The NRC has really been privileged.
I think Miss Tony got disconnected, so maybe we can move on first with
Jessica.
Miss Jack.
Okay, Miss Jack, are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Okay, please come in. Yeah.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. It has been a long journey for CCAR, the coastal cities at risk. As you may well have known, that team that you've been working with had the first phase, a multi-country initiative, and we were given the opportunity to really test, and think through, do research and test those theories of risk and resilience in the Philippines through CCARPH over the past years. If there's any takeaway that we have from this initiative, one is being able to put into practice the whole concept of a whole of society approach in addressing disaster risks, climate and disaster risks, and moving towards a resilience that is transformative and contributes to sustainable development. By that, I mean, through CCARPH, we were able to unpack, what resilience really means in the context of the Philippines' vision of a safer, adaptive, and resilient society and communities. These concepts were then unpacked through different methodologies, with different stakeholders working to find pathways to apply this in the current Philippine governance system. We're very honored to have here distinguished scientists, policymakers, national and local government officials, and committed public servants, and people from the academe, who have really bonded together, with civil society and many other stakeholders to prove that resilience is not just a concept, it can happen. And I do hope that the Resilience Toolkit that CCARPH is sharing with all of you will grow, as we all discover better pathways to resilience in the country. Thank you very much and good morning. Again, deepest gratitude from everyone at CCARPH. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. I think Tony can come in. Tony, are you there now?
Yes, thank you very much. I apologize for that. Again, a victim of technology. So if I may just rewind, on behalf of the National Resilience Council, I'd like to thank IDRC, the Ateneo de Manila, and Manila Observatory for the opportunity to work and learn together in this groundbreaking transdisciplinary action project. The NRC has been privileged to be accompanied in our work and to be led in our work by the energies and intellects behind CCAR2. And we're deeply grateful for this toolkit. It is a critical resource for our LGU partners and their stakeholders in the private sector, in civil society, and among the communities themselves. As you may know, the NRC's 3-year, 2-track Resilient Local Government Unit program covers 8 cities and 1 province. We will soon have a second city and another city and a municipality enrolled in our Adopt a City program. And 2 of our city partners are in fact represented and really have been mainstreamed into this project, Iloilo City and Naga City. These 2 cities are now entering the 3rd year, which is the 3rd year of transformative adaptation and risk reduction for resilience. In this year, we need to precisely be asking ourselves, what are the right questions to ask and how do we choose the right tools? And this is why the toolkit really comes at a very opportune time for all this work. We need to form new institutional arrangements now with our academic partners and within our own universities to constantly co-generate the needed solutions that are needed to face the resilience challenges in our local governments. We are also honored to be a member of the UNDP-led consortium implementing an Australian government project which covers 10 provinces more and 2 special regions, Metro Manila and the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. This toolkit will also be very valuable as a resource there. I'm deeply grateful, and I'd like to acknowledge the energies of Emma in particular for her leadership and her vision in trying to bring this together, but also Father Jet and Father Bobby for the Ateneo and for the Manila Observatory and the support that they have given to all this work, which bring together so many hands, minds, and hearts. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Dr. Emma, Miss Tony, and Miss Jack for your messages. And thank you as well for the guidance and the inspiration you provided the team throughout the making of the toolkit. Saying that, we now move on to the main event, the launch of the CCARPH Resilience Toolkit. We designed the toolkit to be a knowledge and learning space for local disaster risk reduction officers, planners, and risk and/or resilience practitioners. Let us now have Mr. John Patrick Alanegi, one of CCARPH's website writer-editors, to walk us through our Resilience Toolkit.
Hi, good morning. All right. Okay, thank you, Joy, for the introduction. Again, so good morning to everyone attending the soft launching of the Resilience Toolkit website of the Coastal Cities at Risk in the Philippines project. Now, okay, so without further ado, I would like to bring your attention to the landing page of the website. Again, the URL of this platform is, as stated here, it's resiliencetoolkit.ph. All right. So actually, we designed this website with the context of the Philippines in mind. More than just an online repository and archive of resources for the CCARPH project, we wanted this platform to become a knowledge and advocacy space where, DRRMOs, the local government units, and other professionals can find valuable resources to their related to their work in DRRM. So just to scroll quickly across the landing page, we actually divided it into 5 parts, namely the top section, then we have the about, then we have the toolkit itself, this one, and then we have the capacity building, and finally the info base. All right, so for the first part, just to bring you to the top section, well, the user will be greeted by an image of the Manila Bay and a video message from Father Roberto Yap, Ateneo de Manila University President and CCARPH project holder. This was during the 2021 National Disaster Resilience Month. To check the whole message, you may simply click on the video thumbnail and you will be directed to the main content. All right. So for the second part, we wanted to emphasize, of course, the people and the organizations behind this project. So up front, you will see here the consortium, composed of the Ateneo de Manila University, the Manila Observatory, and the National Resilience Council, with, of course, generous support from the International Development Research Center in Canada. So to learn more about our partners, just click on the link below, see all partners, and you'll be directed here. A comprehensive list of our key partners at organizations. We have the LGUs, such as in City of Manila, Iloilo, City of Naga. Then we also have our other academic partners. And to learn more about actually the faces behind this project, just click on the link below, and you will be directed to their to this list of the people behind the CCARPH project. All right. So now for the third section, well, this is the main content actually. That this is the toolkit itself. So for this section, we categorically divided it into 5 themes, namely climate, social vulnerability, then we have the geospatial, city resilience, and capacity building. So for example, let us try clicking on climate, where one can find information on, or people can better understand the different dimensions of climate change to better enhance our city's resilience. All right. So for example, it is further divided into 3 subcategories, namely climate projections, air quality, and then health. So let us try clicking on this one here, air quality. All right. So you can check here on this section. In this section, you can check the entire study and even download additional resources such as research infographics. There are different links here where the user can actually explore Yeah, so we have images, other scientific summaries for policymakers. Feel free to download. But then, of course, at the bottom, we have the research team, the names behind the research team. All right. So that's one section. Let's try going back. So that is, okay, remember that is climate. Let's proceed to social vulnerability, where practitioners can explore what can be done to strengthen further our most vulnerable communities in our cities. So it's subdivided into social vulnerability and then economics. Let's try this one. All right. So under social vulnerability, you'll be provided with different types of infographics here. Yes, even scrolling further down, you can also see other featured studies that are related to this subcategory. So everything is just click on, let's say, this one. All right. So most of these resources are available to be downloaded from their respective pages. So this one is social vulnerability. All right, let's check one more. Let's going back. Let's say geospatial, where people can visualize the features and impacts of climate change through different images. So it is subdivided into 5 categories. We have land cover assessment, land cover analysis, then land use classification, informal livelihoods, and GIS. Now let's try this one, GIS. All right, so this one, here you can see here downloads. I see and download studies that will show you more resources. For example, this one. All right, so this is the full study under the GIS section. It came a little bit late, but yeah, here you can see other different maps, different infographics, which we hope our users can find helpful in their field. All right. So overall, we designed this section, quite image heavy, so people can navigate easily and access materials immediately. So later on, when we launch provide you the link, we can also, browse once you visit the site. All right. So for the fourth part, these are more the supplementary parts of the Resilience Toolkit, which is the home for resources to enhance capacity and transfer knowledge for climate change adaptation and disaster risk risk reduction for resilience. So here we included the Master in Disaster Risk and Resilience program of the Ateneo de Manila University, where people can download the brochures and other information regarding the program. We have here other media content and stories where even prospective students can get information regarding this graduate program. And then for the city engagements, this showcases partnerships with local governments, so we can put science into practice and hopefully inform policies and investment at the local government level. So for this section, we have 5 featured cities, namely Naga City, Iloilo City, Muntinlupa, Valenzuela, and Pasig. So you can just click here on the sidebar to proceed immediately. So this is Iloilo. So you can see here different case studies, the workshops. So that's all right. Yes, and for Naga, let's just proceed back. Okay, this one, the first one. Again, different case studies and other resources for LGUs, that they probably can look into or even replicate in their own communities. And then for the third one, partnerships. Let's proceed to this link. Let's just go to the community partnerships. All right, so here you can see the different engagements of the project in the different communities. So for example, here we have images from the Buklod Tao in Barangay Banaba in San Mateo, Rizal. And then we have here the Integrated Community Food Program in Valenzuela City. So just scrolling down, you can see the various engagements done by the project. And, of course, it is they are all available for the public, for public consumption. And okay, so lastly, it's going to be a very quick one. We have the very supplementary info base, which contains the key concepts, webinars, technical documents, media gallery, and related links. For the key concepts, these are, these include the theoretical, the research design and framework that underpin the output of the CCARPH work here in the Resilience Toolkit. So you can see here different infographics that may be helpful for practitioners and other professionals.
John, can you
Yes?
show them the community-based arts, because that's really one major.
Oh, okay, ma'am. All right.
Yeah. Because IDRC was really impressed with the.
All right. Sure, ma'am.
Yeah, with our engagement with Arete and the communities.
Okay, so this one is the community-based arts. Hang on. All right. So yes, ma'am. So here you can see again different resources for the community-based arts. Oops,
Yeah.
Hello. Hello. Ayan. Oops.
And then
And just scrolling down the different media sources of media just for were created through art making and in relation to climate change and disaster risk mitigation. So this is this is under capacity building, the community-based arts. All right, going back. So aside from that, we also have webinars here. All of the webinars under this project will be put on the website, so people can just replay. So here, for example, we have here from APSA 2020 related talks on climate change, COVID-19, and the city. So here, anything under the any webinars that are related that are done under the project or related to the advocacy of the CCARPH can be put under here and can be viewed and consumed through this page. So we have a lot here. Just you may just scroll down the page and you'll be greeted by an abundance of webinar material. Then technical documents here, where you can download technical reports. Oops, hang on. Here you can download technical reports, scientific summaries for policymakers, policy briefs, journal articles, among others. So again, you may just click on the tool. For example, here, click on the tool, and then you can expand the list of resources that are available for downloads. So here, all right. So everything is available for public consumption just through this page. And then
where is the Ricky's science projects?
Hang on. Ajay, can you help me out regarding the
it's
Dr. Abaysa?
Under explore our tools.
Sorry,
explore the toolkit.
Okay, this one.
And you will be hold on.
Tools, yeah.
Tools.
Okay.
Then you will be greeted by the video.
All right, this one. So it's under tools.
Yes.
So this one, yeah. This for.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I think.
All right. Just for reference.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Okay, so for the last part again, so that's technical documents, then media gallery. So everything, all the engagements of the project, the photo albums, digital exhibits, you can click here, and you will be greeted by this media-rich content, where you can visualize and see, basically, this is CCARPH in action, as seen through photographs and other media content. All right. Then lastly, of course, we have related links where you will be able to connect with the project's partners, such as those in academia, local government units, and our community partners. And finally, if you notice here on the thumbnail, you can browse through the headlines and news from the Coastal Cities at Risk.ph website. You don't need to actually click on the link if you're on desktop. Just scroll through, And if there's an item that interests you, you may just simply click on it and you will be directed to the content. All right. And that's it. So in essence, that is the main resilience toolkit where we want users, to feel welcome and browse through the available resources and content that can help our DRRMOs, our local government units, and other practitioners plan and implement their work in their field and communities. So as mentioned earlier, since this is still a soft launching, we invite all our partners and our stakeholders to help us populate this platform even further so we can engage more with the public in terms of our disaster risk and resilience advocacy. So for now, that is the quick tour of the Resilience Toolkit website. I'll just proceed up. And so later, feel free to check and engage with the platform. And thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much, John. If there are any questions or comments, may we request the participants to type them into the chat box or to the comment section so that we can raise them during the Q&A portion later. Now, may I ask Dr. Porio once again to moderate this session with our partners.
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much, Joy and John. John especially because he was the graduate assistant of the Department of Sociology and Anthropology, and I basically told him, please help me with this. So thank you very much. He was also our website moderator and designer of the Department of Sociology and Anthropology. So thank you, John, and thank you, Joy and Bien, and all the other members of the Resilience Toolkit. I'm very grateful to them, and really, without their work, I don't think we can have reached this. So what I'd like to do now is that before calling on our distinguished panelists, I would like, if there's any perhaps immediate thoughts you have, Father Bobby, as our project holder, what our aim really is to engage the public to utilize our scientific tools that the university is able to produce, and in what way we can be of support. And by the way, Father Bobby, as with Ateneo de Manila University, as the representative for higher education institutions in the INDRRMC, we are going to have a separate launch just for them. Okay. So Father Bobby, you have any thoughts?
Well, just to repeat what I said in the video, whatever you heard of it, we're really glad that Ateneo is very much a part of this. It's an excellent way to show really and how the academe can really help local governments and local communities. I'm very glad that this is very interdisciplinary, and I'm very glad that we are really tackling this very important issue. In many ways, the timing is very right for this toolkit. We're going to COP in next month, I think. And so climate change, again, will be very much in the agenda. But at the same time, we know that it's a very difficult, wicked problem that we have to deal with. And efforts like this to continue working with local governments, other universities. That's the other part that's really good about this project also, is that we have reached out to other universities. So it's not only Ateneo and Manila Observatory, but the Naga, UP Visayas, and others, and also really working with local government. So I really hope that we can really make use of this toolkit and really expand it more so that it can be applied with really practical and concrete uses. So again, thank you very much, Emma, for your leadership. Thank you for the team. Thank you for the collaboration.
Thank you too, Father Bobby, for your support. I mean, without the Ateneo de Manila support, Manila Observatory support, and the National Resilience Council, and that of the other partner universities and the partner city, I don't think we could have done this. May I now call on, I'll start with the university partners. May I call on first the University of the Philippines Visayas Chancellor. The University of Visayas Chancellor, Dr. Clement Castigador Camposano, can you please give us your response and your plans for Iloilo's UPV and Iloilo City scientists and practitioners?
Okay. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to our friends. First, let me greet the other members of this panel, Father Bobby, Father Jet, of course, Tony Yulo Lizaga, si Undersecretary and Admiral Alex Pama, of course, Professor Jessica Bersilia, who is part of our faculty, and the other members of the panel. Mayong aga sa inyong tanan. Okay. UP Visayas is very happy to be part of this collaboration. And I would really like to cite two reasons for this. One, it's because UP Visayas, of course, is interested in contributing to making a meaningful contribution to science-based risk governance. And also, and I think on a more fundamental, in a more fundamental way, we are excited to be part of this collaboration, because this will allow actually the university to move beyond mere public service and become publicly engaged. UP Visayas aims to be a university where our academics and their scholarship are publicly engaged. And quite happy to note that recently 3 of our scientists have been appointed to the National Panel of Technical Experts of the Climate Change Commission. And of course, they are in very good company, because they're joined by my good friend, Dr. Emma Porio, who is actually principal investigator and the leader of this project. So, so we are quite happy to be part of this. Well, climate change and the risks that come with it is a strategic area for linking science and policy. So this engagement, this collaboration, and this toolkit that we are launching today couldn't have come at a better time. Okay? This is actually made more significant by the fact that we will soon have the Mandanas ruling put into effect, which will put more resources in the hands of local government units and, of course, local chief executives. And we cannot overemphasize the need to really capacitate our local government units, especially those local government units that are actually at risk. And most of our large cities in the Philippines are actually at risks. And certainly, collaborative networks such as the one that's being represented by Climate Change, Coastal Cities at Risk PH, is crucial to linking science and policy. I mean, these things don't happen by themselves, and you have to make this linkage happen. And so you have to create the institutional linkages. You have to create the collaborative networks that will allow local political leaders, for example, the opportunity to be informed by good science, to be informed by our scientists, and at the same time for our scientists to be informed by our local leaders, because science and science has to be relevant, and only when scientists move beyond the narrow confines of their scholarship that they produce knowledge that can really make a difference to our communities. So we're very happy with this particular initiative. In closing, let me point out that this will actually complement UPV's already close relationship with Iloilo City. We are working very closely with the political leadership here to advance this idea of risk governance, and of course also climate resilience. And already at this point, UP Visayas is providing technical inputs to the decision making in Iloilo City. We, for example, as Chancellor, I sit in the Project Coordinating Council of Iloilo City, and of course, one of our colleagues, Dr. Rex Sadaba, is actively involved in also helping the city with a number of its projects, particularly projects related to mangroves and, of course, our centerpiece project here, the Esplanade. So, again, I cannot but celebrate with everybody the launch of this toolkit. I hope that this is going to be the start of more engaged scholarship on the part of UPV, and thank you, of course, to our colleagues, Dr. Emma Porio, and our own faculty member who is very much a part of this, the co-investigator, Professor Jessica Barcilia. Please continue the fight for risk governance. UP Visayas is with you all the way. So maayong aga sa inyong katanan.
Thank you very much, Sir Clem. Now, former Yosek Alexander Pama will come next.
Thank you very much, Doc Ems. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. And thank you, CCARPH, for this invitation. Pardon me for, in the interest of time, I will not greet everybody already, which I think has already been mentioned. Anyway, congratulations to you all, and all your partners and collaborators for this project, and for this launching of your Resilience Toolkit. We are all aware that CCAR Philippines' overall goal is to enhance the capacity of coastal cities and vulnerable communities in the Philippines to adapt to climate and disaster risks towards resilience in the context of rapid urbanization, and, if I may emphasize, economic expansion. As a private sector representative in this toolkit launching activity, it is indeed my privilege to cite CCARPH's invaluable contribution to resilience, for the resilience of vulnerable communities in the context of economic expansion. Private sector is the principal driver of economic expansion, and it is therefore an imperative that the private sector's initiatives and business activities will have to be risk-informed, with data and information essential to investment and operational decisions. This output from your project will invariably prove to be of utmost importance and utility for the private sector in its drive for business and economic development. With the aid of this, and with our due regard to the importance of risk-informed business processes and systems, I am confident that the businesses will move towards a more resilient and sustainable economic development, especially in those in climate vulnerable areas. This therefore highlights the need for a continuing, expanded, and more robust public-private partnerships, particularly in areas of collaborative engagements to enhance risk and resilience governance. There is obviously numerous areas where the aspect of risk and resilience governance in both the public and private activities do intersect and even proceed along common paths. These endeavors to be more efficient, effective, and resiliency compliant will have to have a fundamental commonality, and this is the possession of and adherence to the precepts of science-based informed decisions relative to risk and resilience governance in order for us to achieve the common goal of resilience and sustainability of business and the communities and publics served by the private sector. Translating these principles and beliefs into action demands understandable and actionable systems and processes. There is undoubtedly a need for guides and practical solution sets to provide understanding and guidance for stakeholders and implementers of DRR and resilience and climate change plans, programs, and activities. This is where I believe the business and the private sector could use some help, and CCARPH has indeed filled this gap. The practical challenge to businesses and the manner by which business is done is what actionable climate science is to be adopted and undertaken for a more effective and transformational paradigm shift in order to contribute in the mitigation and adaptation measures undertaken to protect and make businesses resilient and sustainable. I guess it is in this context where the CCAR Philippines Toolkit that we are launching today will be making a significant impact and contribution to our collective effort at achieving resilience, not only for communities in the coastal areas, but equally important to the businesses and the private sector activities in these areas. I'm confident that this toolkit will find great use and significance to the private sector in its continuing efforts to undertake processes that are climate change and disaster resilient, compliant, and sustainable as well. In view of this, we are honored and privileged to have been a part, one way or another, in CCARPH's endeavors to achieve its goals, even as we congratulate you and your collaborators for these outstanding accomplishments. Rest assured that we in the private sector will continue to support and be your partner in your other continuing advocacies and endeavors towards resilient communities. Thank you very much. And once again, congratulations to CCARPH. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Alex. It is really good. May I now call on Mr. Willie Prilis, the CPDO of the Naga City LGU. He has been our partner really in making the Naga City Planning Office, the climate disaster risk assessment in Naga. Has been working very well because of the partnership with Father Robert Rivera and the ADNO team, as well as with Rene Gomba and all the other, and the Resilience Council. Thank you. Willie, can we come on, please?
Thank you, Doc Emma. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Naga City government, headed by Mayor Nelson Ligacion and the Naga City Resilience Council, we are proud to join you in the launch of the CCARPH Resilience Toolkit. I can still recall when we had the first of a series of capacity building on multi-hazard decision support system that the Manila Observatory conducted in Naga, facilitated by Dr. Bercilia, which eventually led us to the partnership with the National Resilience Council and the CCARPH project. This, of course, enabled us to organize the NCRC, our own version of the National Resilience Council, which further cemented our ongoing partnership with local stakeholders, including the local academia that, of course, includes our very own Ateneo de Manila University. In the process, we worked together in developing an enhanced climate and disaster risk assessment, or CIDRA, that informed and continue to inform local policy. In fact, starting last week, our CLUP is now undergoing final review by the Central Office of the Department of Housing Settlements and Urban Development, in preparation for the presentation and hopefully eventual approval by Secretary Eduardo Del Rosario. Later today, after this meeting, our 2022 annual investment program will be presented to the Sangguniang Panglungsod, which is having its session this morning to guide the 2022 budget preparation. As head of the City COVID Analytics team, which is a partnership between the Ateneo de Manila Institute for Environmental Conservation and Research and the local planning department, we will also provide this week's update on the COVID situation in Naga to the Council. That capability, of course, was made possible in partnership with the National Resilience Council. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll have a second FGD with the local business sector to wrap up the CGE modeling study on the impact of typhoons, COVID, and the African swine flu in the city on the city economy. Again, through a partnership with Ateneo de Manila, Ateneo de Naga, under the wings of the CCARPH project. If I'm not mistaken, this would be the first of its kind in the Philippines that looks into these hazards all at the same time. All of these were made possible by the CCARPH project, headed by Dr. Emma Porio, and the NRC headed by Ms. Tony Loizaga. We thank them for the trust and confidence in the city. Rest assured that this newfound knowledge and capacity, captured by the Resilience Toolkit we have just launched, will be useful in ensuring enlightened, science-based, climate and disaster risk-informed decision-making in the city. The advent of the silly season of politicking notwithstanding. Maray na aga po sa Indogabus.
Thank you very much, Willie. I'm really happy that you are now finding this toolkit useful. I still remember our dinner when you asked me, can you tell me how your science can make my mayor win? Thank you very much. Thank you. Now may I call on our longtime partner, Father Robert Rivera, the president of the Ateneo de Manila University. I'm very happy. I would like to thank Father Robert for basically putting his ADNO research team to RISICAR. Thank you very much, Father Robert.
Thank you very much, Doc Emma. So, dear friends, associates, and colleagues, blessed day to all. Diyos Marhena Aldaw sa Saint Dugabos. It is truly an honor and a privilege for the Ateneo de Manila University here in Bicol to be both a collaborator and a beneficiary of the Coastal Cities at Risk project of the International Development Research Center. The Bicol region of the Philippines, as you know, has always been a convergence point, a ground zero, if you like, of environmental calamities in recent years. Volcanic eruptions, landslides, lahar flows, super typhoons, including last year's record-setting Typhoon Rolly or Goni, as it's known internationally. And in recent weeks, to add to that mix, earthquake swarms here in Camarines Sur, caused by the nearby Legazpi and San Miguel faults. All these make for a Bicolano people and a Bicolano community that is naturally resilient and resourceful in the face of these perennial threats. But ever since CCAR Research Project Head, Professor Emeritus Dr. Emma Poryo, also my former boss and department chair at the Sociology Anthropology Department of the Ateneo de Manila, and Ma'am Tony Loizaga, NRC President, and our Ateneo de Manila board member, two people I am hard-pressed to decline. Ever since the two approached us here in Ateneo de Manila to collaborate in the CCAR IDRC project here in Bicol, we knew it was a chance to further contribute to the groundswell of initiatives taken by our hardworking Naga City local government, spearheaded by Mayor Nelson Legacion and Engineer Willie Priles, who is also our faculty member in the graduate school, and other civil society groups towards sustained and science-based resilience. With the generous support of the lead institutions and organizations, the Ateneo de Manila University, the Manila Observatory, Father Bobby Yap and Father Jet Villarreal are current and past BOTO members respectively of the Ateneo de Manila as well. The National Resilience Council, the University of the Philippines, Visayas, and many other partners. This project has been a landmark involvement for the Ateneo de Manila. It has been an opportunity for us as a community to examine and upgrade our own resilience policies and interventions. The CCAR Resilience Toolkit is, I believe, truly a testament to how communities can not only survive, but prosper in the midst of calamity when hearts, minds, and hearts work together. Quite providentially, the CCAR IDRC project was initiated here in Bicol, just as Ateneo de Manila was celebrating its 80th founding anniversary. As we move towards a century of Jesuit education in the Bicol region, we hope that we can carry on the legacy of the CCAR IDRC project, a legacy of resilience as a way of life, inculcated among the young through the wisdom of the old, preserved and passed on through generations. So once again, warmest congratulations to all the proponents of the CCAR IDRC project on this wonderful launch. Thank you for allowing us to be part of this endeavor towards a truly resilient nation and world. Salamat po, asin Diyos mabalas.
Thank you very much, Father Robert, for all your support all these years, and I hope it will continue. It will continue until 2030. Anyway, thank you so much, Father Robert. Now, Father Jet says he has to go. So may I hear from Father Jet, please? My first boss before my current boss, Father Roberto Yap. Can we have Father Jet, are you there? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Emma. I am sorry, I have to go. I'm very happy to be here with you and finally to see the fruits of our labor, which we began a few years ago. Can you hear me, Emma?
Yes, yes.
Everyone? Okay. Sige. Just a few thoughts. First, I like tools. I'm a tool guy. I'll be happy if you put me in a hardware store. And I have a lot of toolboxes. Actually, I like to use tools. However, it can be very confusing if there are so many tools in my toolbox. And each tool is designed for a particular use. So I guess my point is that there's a Visayan word, it's samuk. No? Samuk. It's a chaos. It can be confusing. And I think each of us has this mission to be wise about the tools at our disposal, to know which tools will be important for a particular situation. So curating these tools, and we'd be more than happy to help also in that task. There is a lot of information. There is information explosion on the internet, right? An explosion of numbers and words. And so I think wisdom is an important virtue at this time. The other point I just wanted to say is I'm happy not to see all these tools, but again, it's like the proof of the pudding is in the eating. The proof of the tooling, I guess, is in the using. Or sometimes people say use it or you lose it. So I hope that these tools will be used, or that we would like to know which tools are useless also, so that we will be we can create more tools that can be used by others. The last point is really, I'm glad that the science is involved. The issue of disaster risk, of climate change, even this pandemic, there's so much hand waving, diba? Especially when it comes to risk, it's probabilities, it's the future. Diba? So there's a lot of hand waving, and so people actually do not know that they do not know, and so they pontificate. They say we should not. There's so many of these dogmatic commands and statements. Science too can pontificate. Science can be dogmatic also. So the whole point of transdisciplinary work is that we learn from each other. And I'm glad that scientists are able to, at least engage and know what the questions are out there. We can learn from each other. A lot of uncertainty hobbles scientists. Sometimes we cannot act because the error bars are too broad. And so in the policy world, that's not the case. You have to act on uncertainties. You have to act now. When people tell us scientists, we need that study tomorrow, I said, no, it will take a few years, and we don't have the luxury of a few years. So scientists should have to learn from the exigencies and urgency of the policy and the policy world of the decision makers. So I think this is a wonderful occasion, a forum, a place where we can come together and actually wrestle with these questions. Again, maraming salamat to all of you, especially to you, Emma, indefatigable leader of this project. You with Sina Jack and Tony Loizaga. Thank you very much for shepherding this all these years. Salamat po.
Thank you, Father Jet, and we will call on next Sunny Jigelius. He sent a video because he has another meeting. So, and then after that, we'll have Donna.
Greetings and thank you for inviting UNDP to provide our key message to this forum. Here I will cite two. One, what have shifted in challenges we face in building resilience, and two, what ought to be different in our strategy and approach in resiliency building. Let me start with the context. The recognition that risks have now become a complex issue. Risk is not due to the occurrence of natural hazards alone, but also about the interconnectedness between the development, decisions policymakers undertake, and the individual decisions people make. These choices had and can create new exposure and vulnerability to shocks. These include, by way of example, the choices of fuel to drive economic growth will determine degree of warming of Earth. The choice of locations of urban and coastal settlements can increase exposure of population to natural hazards. The human-induced anthropogenic climate change and their contribution to the severity, frequency, and intensity of future disasters. We therefore ought to recognize that some of today's problems came from yesterday's policies and solutions, or tomorrow's problems will come from today's policies and action and inaction. Message number one, therefore, is that risk is now a multidimensional and interconnected phenomenon. We are experiencing this with this pandemic today. For some areas, risk is systemic, where simultaneous crises and effects are cascading in almost all sectors from compounded effects of different hazards. It is not enough that we use the simplistic equation of disaster risk is the result of hazard, vulnerability, and inadequate capability. Risks we are facing are due to the following interconnected vectors, and we call them the Risk Nexus. And what does this entail? The first one is the Risk and Climate Nexus. Despite of our big gains in disaster risk reduction, this can be eroded by climate change impacts, where extreme weather events and seasonal variabilities will exceed preparedness and mitigation actions. Second, the Risk and Poverty Nexus. The increasing number and worsening multi-poverty dimensions will overstretch availability and access of poor population to basic services. Many will have no choice but to live in high disaster exposure areas. Number three, the Risk and Inequality Nexus. People with disabilities, women and girls, migrants and displaced, and other categories will be hardest hit in numbers and intensity due to the increasing frequency of disasters and climate change impact. Message number two is that we need to have a different way on how we plan and work together through system thinking and design to deal with complexity. Let us challenge the status quo and show the benefits of a system approach, break silos, and shift our mindset, actions towards interconnectedness. Here are my observations from a regional vantage point. The reduction in mortality is meaningless if this happens only in middle-income countries and developed countries, but mortality can continue to increase in poor and developing countries. The reduction of economic costs sounds hollow if these benefits accrue to industries and big business, but increasing among micro and small and medium enterprises, among farmers, among fisher folks, and among day-wage workers. The reduction of affected population to disasters is unequal if more women, girls, people with disabilities are suffering. The reduction of losses to infrastructure is imbalanced if these only accrue to urban infrastructure, not in rural areas where the majority of people depend on their livelihood. UNDP's key message is that there are systemic challenges and they cannot be addressed by a single archetype, and what we need is much better archetype in promoting coherent, risk-informed development.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy that, Sunny basically, despite his busy schedule, sent us that. So we now call on Donna Magno, our singular women power in Iloilo as the RRMO. I basically made sure that the woman says the last. So Donna, can you hear from you?
Yes, thank you, Doc Emma. Can I be heard?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Doc. So good morning, everyone. So in behalf of the DRR and Resilience Champions of Iloilo City, led by our City Mayor, Jerry Petreñas, I would like to congratulate the CCARPH team led by Doc Emma, Ma'am Tony, Ma'am Jessica, and its partners, the National Resilience Council, the Manila Observatory, and its academic partners for the impressive work and the report done with the LGUs, which led us to the launch of the Resilience Toolkit. We are here today to give honor to your hard work and commitment. Your efforts open the space for local government units like that of Iloilo City to have the opportunity to use science in making informed decisions. So the climate and disaster risk assessment of Iloilo City was completed through CCARPH 2. The availability of a science-informed risk assessment allowed us to experience and appreciate the beauty of processed scientific data translated into scenarios that local leaders and DRR practitioners like myself could relate to, like how the increased temperature and rainfall could exacerbate hazards like drought, flooding, and storm surge, and how this could affect a barangay with poor access to water supply. And if you add COVID-19 pandemic to that, one would see the challenges that would confront the local leader, like what policies to adopt, what non-structural measures to implement, and what institutions to collaborate with. The maps and numbers would tell interesting analysis of the interplay of hazard, exposure, and vulnerabilities, which could inspire us to find creative, transformative, and sustainable solutions so that our communities would be better protected and would be safer and resilient. In our case, our City Planning and Development Office used the CIDRA report as basis in identifying the city's priority programs in the updating of our CLUP. Our city, the RM Council, has also referred to the same report when we identified the activities to be funded by the 2022 local DRRM fund. And this report has also been used as reference in the development and analysis of the vaccination risk map when NRC assisted the LGU on its vaccine distribution to the 180 barangays. So when Mayor Jerry Trenya saw the maps, he immediately instructed the COVID-19 vaccination team to refer to the analysis as basis in prioritizing the barangays. In all these stories, UPV played a huge role in supporting the city governments. And these are just some of the stories that came out because of the CCAR project. And we would like to thank everyone engaged in this for the beautiful and enriching experience. We hope to continue our collaboration in developing our competencies in using science and evidence-based planning and decision-making. Let us journey together as we make Iloilo City more livable and more resilient. Mabuhay po kayong lahat at magandang umaga. Amen.
Thank you very much, Donna. I'm really happy that Iloilo City LGU has fully engaged in the science-based, disaster resilience planning. So thank you very much, Donna, and your team. I'm very, CCARPH, Ateneo de Manila, and Manila Observatory, very grateful, and also the NRC, very grateful to your initiatives there. Joy, do we have questions?
Yes, Bob,
okay.
We have questions. The first one is from Zoom. Aside from Naga, Iloilo, and Manila, where else is the Resilience Toolkit being used? And are there other commitments from other LGUs to actively utilize this toolkit and help inform their decision-making processes towards achieving resilience? So is there anywhere else that this Resilience Toolkit is being used, and are we deploying this one to other LGUs?
As of now,
Emma, would you like me to answer?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, please, Tony.
Thank you, Ems, and thank you for that question. As I said earlier, the National Resilience Council will be using the toolkit as a resource in our own work with the different LGUs. And just to recall, we do have 8 LGUs already in the second year of the Resident Local Government Unit program. 2 of them, Iloilo and Naga, are of course part of the CCAR project. However, all are involved in various kinds of capacity building with the CCAR team under the leadership of Doc Emma and of course of Jessica as well. And so we hope to be able to make this available to all our LGU partners, including Iligan City and Tiwi, the municipality of Tiwi, which are about to join us, but certainly most definitely in the city of Manila, where we have a number of projects already lined up that will apply a lot of the learnings from the CCAR project. Secondly, I think, as I mentioned earlier, and as I'm grateful that Sunny made time for this today, The NRC will be working in 10 provinces all over the country, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and 2 special regions, Metro Manila and BARM. And we will be bringing this resilience toolkit along with us, as well as the technical resource and the scientific minds of Doc Emma and some of the different scientists who've collaborated on the toolkit creation and the CCARPH project. So as Father Jet said earlier, the proof of the pudding will be in the usability, the usefulness, and the value to the user. And so we aim to bring this tool to all our LGU partners and their internal and external stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other question, Joy? Thank you, Tony, for
Yes,
that very good.
Thank you, Ms. Tony. That question was from Ms. Jonna Cabagyo. Another question sent in from Zoom was, well, this project is already in its closing phase. However, there's still so much to know and unfold regarding disaster risk and resilience in the country. Can we expect continuous research and collaboration from those involved in the project? And are there plans to involve more cities? Oh, this one is already answered. If there are plans to involve more cities in transdisciplinary research action.
May I answer that, and then Tony can also come in. Basically, we have, in a sense, we have started, the institutionalization at the beginning by embedding it in their respective organizations and respective LGU risk governance system. So yes, we will continue. I mean, I'm speaking now for CCARPH in Ateneo de Manila. We will continue. We are working with different units in the university and also with different cities. So for example, Manila Observatory, they have the Resilience Collaboratory. In SOSE, they have the Climate and Disaster Resilience Laboratory. In Ateneo Innovation Center, they have the Community Resilience Laboratories. And then in the Department of Economics, they have the Environment, Energy, and Disasters Laboratory. In the Department of Sociology, Anthropological and Sociological Initiative in Asia, I have institutionalized what I call the Climate Disaster Resilience Innovations Program, wherein it would cover different components like gender and well-being and climate. Also, where I'm the University of the Philippines, Visayas, they also have integrated it into their own action systems and the others, as well as Ateneo de Naga. So all our partners are continuing. So, and I expect the Resilience Toolkit to be sort of integrative and convergent for all the innovations that our partners will continue. So it becomes, as I said earlier, the Resilience Toolkit is the repository as well as the knowledge space, but more importantly, an advocacy space wherein we are basically concerned of science-based, decision-making, and we would like to support this decision-making platforms at the local government unit, at the national government agencies. And in fact, I would like to announce at this moment that I have worked out with the Office of Civil Defense and the National Disaster Risk Management Council that because Ateneo de Manila is the representative for academic universities and higher education institutions, we will have a separate launch that's really meant for their organization and their partners in the region and the like. So I would say that I am CCARPH is very grateful to be working with very much committed scientists and policymakers and local government officials and practitioners. And I'm very sure that they will continue and they will connect with us. So as I said earlier, if there's anything I'm really grateful about this program is because we have people that are very committed and we are trustworthy and very eager to contribute to the solutions that our communities need. Okay, thank you. Any other question and comments, Joy?
So far, no more. We have no more questions from Zoom, and I don't think there are any from Facebook as well.
Okay.
Unless there's someone from
Yeah,
our participants who would like
and
to
from our
raise something.
panels. Yeah. Is there anyone from the our panel and also from the participants who would like to make a comment or question before? I'd like to call on Tony to give, a final closing remarks because Father Jet has to go to another meeting. Are there any, other comments from other panelists and from the other participants? If none, maybe we can call Tony. Would you do the honors, please? Tony, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Doc Ems. I think much has already been said, but I would like to sincerely thank you and Jessica, and of course Melanie, for believing in this project. But more than that, all the individual scientists and their teams that have generously provided their time, their intellect, their hearts, and put these into the success of the project. And there is so many to name. I still recall the huge plantilla chart that you had hanging in the arete, and I think that all of them deserve the most sincere thanks and congratulations for their contributions. This is all work in progress. It will move forward. As Sunny is saying, we are just beginning to scratch the surface of the complexity of risk in the localized context that they actually present themselves.
Yes.
The issue of intersectionality and vulnerability, I think, is one that is really very critical. Differentiated exposure to the different potential impacts of climate change. And so there's much work to be done. I look forward to working with the CCAR team in the city of Manila in particular, and the collaboration with the 7 Manila universities that will be working with us, and George Mason University and Manila Observatory. So thank you very much, Ems, for your leadership, for your energy. I've always said you are a force of nature, and without that, we would never have been able to come to this point. So maraming salamat to you.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. As I really would like to thank the scientists and the work package leaders. I still remember when we had our first meeting, and I told them, to innovate is to collaborate, but to collaborate is to navigate the systems. And I always told them, by being together, we can be more. And I really think, as I told the IDRC, that because they were asking us, how do we monitor, and I said, we work with people who wants to work with us and who are committed towards the same direction that we want to do. So I would really thank, the work package leaders at Manila Observatory, Doc Faye, Doc Gemma, and as you noticed, we have dedicated this work in CCAR. A lot of you have gotten a copy of the final synthesis report. We have dedicated our work to Dr. Gemma and to all the scientists, as well as to all the people working on the ground, professionals, practitioners, LGU officials, national officials, people who are on the front line of response to climate change. So we've also dedicated especially to the women and men and children in vulnerable communities who every day fight the climate impact. So in this, I'd like to say that, this is a work in progress, as I was saying earlier. This Resilience Toolkit will only work if you also, share and I was saying to Father Jet earlier, action pictures, hindi mga shooting gallery type pictures. We have to show them that we're really working, not sitting, anyway. So I'd say thank you, Tony, and thank you, Jack. Thank you to Father Robert, Father Bobby, Father Jet, to Willie, to Jack, and to Sir Clement of UPV, because they really have gone ahead and integrate, the science and tools into their ways of doing things. So I'm very grateful, and I'd like to say that please I want this Resilience Toolkit on our website to be a continuous dialogue of space and continuous exchange of ideas, exchange of experiences, best practices. You tell us, what work in your places. So, in fact, IDRC said that, I'm very happy that it seems that we have institutionalized this. We hope, as Melanie said, it's beyond, we're just starting in terms of really doing what we say, bridging science, policy, practice nexus. And as I always say, we're just as good as our tools. We're just as good as our data and our science. And that's our role as scientists. So we have to work with people who can mobilize science and technology on the ground and also in the policy spaces and action spaces. So thank you. I don't think I can thank enough. Sometimes I'm thinking, I feel like a taskmaster asking everybody, where's your deliverable and all that stuff. But I would say this is really very fulfilling because I feel that we as a university, we as a consortium is really on the front of what we should be doing now. I think we should, we say public-private partnerships. I think in CCAR, we're able to do that. And I want to emphasize that to everybody, to all my partners on the ground. Thank you so much. I think this worked because you worked. And so I'd like to thank everyone for that. And again, as I said, Joy will put all our webinars or our public events are in our YouTube channel in CCAR. So we have two websites. So we have the Resilience Toolkit website and the CCAR website, and we will work it out with Ateneo de Manila that the Resilience Toolkit will bounce to the Ateneo website and it will come out of Ateneo. So thank you very much. Please, this is as one of you said, this is just a beginning of a further collaboration. Connect with us, and I promise the Canadian Embassy in the Philippines that in the launch, I hope the ambassador can speak there in the launch with the IDRC. So thank you. Are there other comments, maybe from Jack or others, before we close this officially?
None from my end, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for joining us today, the launch of the CCARPH Resilience Toolkit. Please visit our website at resiliencetoolkit.ph, and the social media tags for the project is also listed on screen. We have another website, so it contains the stories and news for CCAR. It's coastalcities@riskph.com. So once again, thank you everyone. Have a good day and stay safe.